Stay too long. What's up, y'all? This is another edition of News You Can Use with D Nice. My name is David. Dan Pooh, thank you so much for joining the stream. Pump them hearts and share this scope. We're talking about a lot of good things today. Happy birthday, Stevie Wonder. I believe he turned 66 today. And he's still kicking them braids around, but you know how it goes. But we're going to get into a lot of news stories today. And we're pretty chock full. A lot of you saw my what's going down, how are you doing? Pump them hearts, tap the screen to pump them hearts. Let me know you're showing some love. Baby Nicole, thank you so much for joining. We're listening to Stevie Wonder. Pump them hearts and share the scope. Stevie Wonder celebrates his birthday today. He turned 66. Share the scope, pump them hearts. I appreciate you guys coming by. Again, this is News You Can Use with D Nice. I'm in Indianapolis, and we're going to get to the news of today. So I know you saw my hashtag Week Donald Trump. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump today. We're also going to talk about some crazy news out of India, and we're going to get into some other good news on the movie scene. So we're going to get into it here in just a little bit. So how are you guys doing tonight? Let me know where you're from. Pump them hearts. Like I said, my name is David, and I am in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. I'm yours, Periscope. So let me know what's up. All right, guys. So we're going to get into the stories of today. So first up, what we're going to talk about is, of course, Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder celebrates his birthday today. Stevie Wonder turns 66 years old, and he is a legend. We've been losing our legends this year, and so I'm glad that we still have some of our legends left. And Stevie Wonder is looking good. He's living good. You know, seems like he's all good. So we look forward to some more music from him and some more performances. I never got a chance to see Stevie live, but one of these days I am going to make it a point to go see Stevie Wonder live. So, and a couple things we also talk about. Donald Trump. I know that Donald Trump has kind of been making news today. Donald Trump has been had a bad week this week, on top of his butler talking about he wanted to murder the president. He said he would hang the president in the White Mosque, not the White House, but he called it the White Mosque, and he called him a Kenyan. So we got some audio from that today. Also, what we have is we're talking about Donald Trump's tax returns. I don't know if I see your comment. I think I missed your comment. But we're talking about also Donald Trump's tax returns. This is another bad thing that Donald Trump had this week. Donald Trump was asked repeatedly by George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, and he refused. Miss Pris, thank you so much for joining the stream. Pump them hearts and share the scope. We're talking about Donald Trump refuse. Hey, how are you doing? Let me know the city you're in. I'm sitting in Indianapolis. I'm outside in my outside man cave. It is sitting at about a brisk 62 degrees. Thank you so much for inviting followers. Share this scope. Pump them hearts. I love it when you pump them hearts. It gets me hype. But yeah, so we're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about him refusing to talk about, you say, no, that's cold. It is, but you know what? I lived in Wisconsin for over 20 years, so this is welcome, here in Indiana. Right now, Wisconsin's probably at like -2. So I'm appreciative of the 62 degrees, that's not cold, that's cool. He said, oh, you in New York? Oh, okay, well, it does get pretty cold in New York, absolutely. Well, that's awesome that you're in New York. Oh, you know about the cold. I know you do. Oh, absolutely. Dark Lady, thank you so much for joining this stream. Pump them hearts and share this scope. We're talking about Donald Trump and his refusal to talk. Hey, how you doing? And his refusal to, yes, thank you so much for pumping them hearts. You guys are awesome. But we're talking about his refusal to release his tax returns. Also on the docket today that we're talking about an Indiana man. We make news, y'all. Check this out. Indiana has made news. Thank you for pumping them hearts, Dark Lady. You're awesome. Thank you. Keep pumping, keep pumping. But we made news today. There was an Indiana man that was arrested for threatening to kill Donald Trump or to beat up Donald Trump. He did like a live stream and he was talking about how he was going to beat Donald Trump and knock him upside his head. And he actually got arrested and charged. So I want you guys we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we're going to talk about the hypocrisy of our judicial system. Dark Lady, thank you so much for joining. Dan Pooh, thank you so much for joining. So check this out, y'all. So we're going to get into the first story. The first story that we're going to talk about is with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is some heat this week. The first thing that he's in the hot seat for, well, actually three things. Actually, I forgot to mention another news story about him faking. He pretended to be a PR person back in the 90s to get his name out. So he would call radio stations and news companies and say, hey, my name is John Miller. And he was posing as himself. And this story broke on the Washington Post today. So we're going to talk about that as well. I got some audio of Donald Trump faking himself to be John Miller. So we're going to hear that too. So spectacular news day today. So let's get into it. So Donald Trump's tax returns, he was questioned by George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America about his tax returns. And needless to say, he was not feeling it and trying to... Tyree, thank you so much for joining. Share this stream. Pump them hearts. Share this scope. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we're talking about Donald Trump and his refusal to release his tax returns. Well, again, he was talking to George Stephanopoulos. And on that show, he basically told George Stephanopoulos, you can go to hell with your questions. I have audio from that. I am going to play that. I want you guys to hear this and then tell me what you guys think. Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining the scope. We're talking about Donald Trump. Thank you for pumping them hearts. Share the scope, pump them hearts. Yo, what's up? Yo, we're talking about Donald Trump refusing to share his tax returns. I have audio from George Stephanopoulos questioning him and his refusal to answer. So I'm going to play this audio. I want you guys to hear this and then tell me what you guys think about this. George Stephanopoulos wouldn't let it go. Peekaboo, thank you so much for joining the scope. Share this stream. Miss Pris, thank you so much for joining the scope. And who's surprised by that? Oh, I'm not surprised by it. I want to get this information out. Thank you for inviting followers, by the way. Check this out. So we're going to play this audio. I want y'all to hear this and then tell me what you guys think of this. I think this is the core reason why the Republicans were scared that he would become the nominee, because of these absolute craziness of Donald Trump. So I want you guys to hear this audio and then tell me what you think. So the first part of this audio is him talking about, just answering general presidential questions about the law that the president, not the law, but the suggestion that the president wanted to put on about transgender students in school. Ms. Pris, thank you so much for joining. You said you saw the meme earlier that someone made saying Donald Trump supporters should show support by doing the plastic bag. And just straight choke yourself, stick yourself. And as soon as I know, ain't that crazy, peekaboo? So we're gonna play this audio, y'all. This is Donald Trump, like I said, talking about refusing to talk about his tax return. So we're gonna play this audio. I want you guys to hear this. Cool Water, thank you so much for joining the scope. Pump them hearts, share the scope. We're talking about Donald Trump refusal to talk about his tax returns. I want y'all to hear this and then tell me what you guys think of this.
Certain things that we can talk about. I'm not totally inflexible on anything.
Here we go. Here goes the question.
I feel when it comes to the borders, we have to have strong borders.
Here we go.
Well, let's talk about your tax return. Under new pressure from the Clinton campaign, Secretary Clinton talking about that the last couple of days. I just have a bottom line question for you. Yes or no? Do you believe voters have a right to see your tax returns before they make a final decision?
I don't think they do, but I do say this. I will really gladly give them. They're not going to learn anything, but it's under routine audit. When the audit ends, I'm going to present them. That should be before the election. I hope it's before the election. But when the audit ends, I've had even journalists say that, no, nobody should give until audits are over. I've had journalists say that. So I think there's no... I sort of have to laugh when Clinton says it. Mrs. Clinton said that...
I'm about to bust him out here once this audio is over.
The missing emails that she's got. When is she going to give the missing emails? Or her Goldman Sachs speeches? When is she going to give that? Very, very great hypocrite.
That's the point. He will be contradicted by his last comment. Absolutely. Y'all hear this. This is crazy.
Every year they audit me. I have wealthy friends that never get audited. I get audited every single year.
As you know, Mr. Trump, the audit is no excuse. The IRS has made it very clear that an audit is not a bar to public release.
It doesn't stop you from showing your taxes.
President Nixon, Richard Nixon, released his tax returns even though he was under audit. And when you were seeking a casino license in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, you released the returns to the state officials even though you were under audit.
I am under audit now, and as soon as the audit ends, I'll release my returns. It's a very simple thing.
Sir,
If you look at many others feel the same way. And almost every lawyer will tell you the same thing. When you're under audit, you finish the audit before you release. I have no problem. And it should
He actually is mentioned in the Panama Papers.
By the way, people are going to learn nothing. You know, I put in financials, 100 pages worth of financials that show that I built a company that's worth more than $10 billion. It shows cash.
Is you sure about that?
Flows. It shows everything. You learn very little from tax returns, but nevertheless, when the audit is complete, I will release. I have no problem.
The audit doesn't stop you from showing your
If
tax.
you were willing to release your tax returns to get a casino license, why shouldn't voters see them before they make you commander-in-chief?
Well, because at the time it didn't make any difference to me. Now it does. If you take a look at the picture.
Oh, it didn't make a difference. Now it does. Well, why doesn't it make a difference?
Probably 10 feet high when you stack them on top, and linked and very complex. I built a massive business, and I want to make sure that everything's perfect.
He built a massive brand, which is his name. He didn't build a successful
business. There have been many presidents that have not shown their tax returns.
Actually, every single nominee since 1976
Full of shite.
has released their
But
tax
before
returns.
1976, more people didn't do it. I mean, it used to be a secret thing. I don't want it to be secret, but I do want the audit to get finished.
Before that, Richard Nixon released his returns, as I said, even though they were under oath. But to get to your point, on the one hand, you show that stack of tax returns. On the other hand, you say that people can't learn anything from them. They can actually learn quite a lot. They can learn your sources of income. They can learn whether you have any foreign sources of income or whether you have any Swiss bank accounts or other offshore accounts. Do you?
I'll tell you right now, I do not. And I don't have Swiss bank accounts. I don't have
But he's mentioned in the Panama Papers.
I really have a very, very clean company. And believe me, if I didn't, it would have been reported by 200 groups, because there's nobody that has more reporting or more scrutiny than I have. I've given my financials. They're extraordinary.
Absolutely.
We would have read if they weren't. But believe me, when I released my financials, George, and we sent them down to federal elections, there was a feeding frenzy by the media. And they reported, wow, that is a great company. And I have built a great, great company. And by the way, when you look at numbers, when you look at incomes, when you look at all of the things, or most of the things that you talked about, that's reported on the financials.
It's not reported on the financials.
It's not reported on, that's the point.
Your tax rate. They don't show whether you paid a low tax rate or no tax rate.
It's very hard to pay as little tax as possible. And
there's an omission right there.
For the last 2 years, I fight very hard because this country wastes our money. They take our tax money and they throw it down the drain. They spend $4 trillion in the Middle East, and we can't fix a road or a bridge.
Absolutely.
And I fight very hard. I consider it an expense.
He is definitely part of just the public face of the Republican Party.
Money or a tax money, and that's part of the problem. So I fight very hard to pay as little tax.
Check this out, y'all.
What is your tax rate?
It's none of your business. You'll see it when I release. But I fight very hard to pay.
So he basically tells George Stephanopoulos that is none of your business. He destroyed Scottish people's lives with his golf course. Oh, he got caught up with that. Remember his offshore property, his property that was on the shore and on the coast. All those lives and all that money that he threw down the drain. People keep forgetting that he was a notorious person about that real estate and buying up all that terrible land on the ocean, on the coast, and then just reselling it to basically dummy properties. Couldn't believe it. But this is the problem that the GOP has. And this is what's going to hurt them in the fall. This is what's going to hurt them. In the general, it's going to be tough when people run these videos back to back to back to back, and you get this, narrative of a misogynistic, lying piece of garbage. And that's what's going to happen here. And this is all the GOP's fault. I hate when they say, well, this is the fault of everybody. It's not. This is the GOP who created this monster back in 2010 when they appealed to the Tea Party base to get the election in 2010. Thinks he's being tough. I know, and they say, well, he's just telling it like it is. But telling it like it is and telling the truth is different things. Just saying things off your mind, just blurting them out doesn't mean it's correct. And George Stephanopoulos was right in this interview. Just because you're being audited does not mean you cannot show your taxes. I looked this up today. You can share your taxes. It doesn't matter. Says it's right. He's a talking head spewing oral piss. That's a very descriptive description, but I absolutely agree. And so since we're talking about Trump, let's segue to this. I know. Let's segue to this. So have y'all heard about this? Donald Trump's butler. And I got some audio on this because he actually doubled down on this. They're coming after Hillary, though. They are. I mean, my personal choice is actually Bernie Sanders. You know, that's who I really want to vote for. He actually won here in Indiana, the caucus here in Indiana. So I was pretty proud about that. That just solidified that my vote does count. But your vote counts anyway. You always got to vote in your elections because the vote is what determines how the country is run. And people keep forgetting that the local vote, your local vote, is actually sometimes more important than the general. Yeah, we all do. Low voter turnout will help Trump. Absolutely. That, you know, I heard an old saying that said if there is low voter turnout, the GOP wins. High voter turnout, America wins. And that's just how this game goes. I hate when people say, "Oh, well, your vote don't count." And I understand how people feel that way, but we gave up the power. We didn't check our politicians. We didn't say, hey, are you redistricting? Are you cutting people off and only counting certain people in certain areas a certain vote? We didn't stop that. So we gave up our right. So the people to blame is ourselves. It's ourselves. But we can get it back. If I'm not mistaken, I think Texas passed a law to end redistricting. I think all the districts have to be drawn by a federal, not ambiguous, but a regular federal. Chris Monroe, thank you so much for joining. Share the scope, pump them hearts. We're talking about Donald Trump refusing to show his tax return and him telling George Stephanopoulos that is none of your business. What's up, bro? And he also got caught lying. So other Trump news, Trump's butler was on the record as saying that he wanted to murder the president. Not only did he say he should be hung, but then he said he should have it publicized on national TV. Yeah, ain't that crazy? He said he wanted to have it publicized on national TV. He said he want President Obama to hang right next to Hillary Clinton. Then he talked about cutting his penis off and all types of craziness. Oh, and hey, look, I'm not even a Hillary supporter, really. I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter. Yeah, Trump's butler, you know, Trump, he's still employed by Trump. He's just like his estate historian, but he does this, he had a Facebook page that nobody knew until it I think it was the Washington Post that broke the story and found out that this dude was sitting there talking about all types of killing the president, killing Hillary. No, he won't tax the hell out of your success. The problem is companies like ExxonMobil that makes $20 billion a quarter, and they get tax subsidies upwards to about $477 million. My thing is companies that make $20 billion a quarter, mind you, you say Trump no longer has ties with his butler. No, he does. He works at Trump's estate. He's a historian. He's an estate historian for Donald Trump. He is with Donald Trump. Wealth disparity is real. Absolutely. So when you're talking about, he retired as his butler, but now he works as a historian. Look it up. He works as an estate historian for Donald Trump. Now, I don't know what the estate historian job title really means. It could just mean that he keeps track of Donald Trump's more estate businesses, possibly. I don't know. But he's listed as an estate historian. No, he's not going to tax your estate. Let me explain a little bit about what's going on. Then we're going to jump into the next story. When you got companies like Exxon, we're going to hear this audio from Donald Trump's former butler, and I want you to hear how he doubled down. But let me tell you, right? He's just telling it like it is. Nah, he ain't telling it like it is. He is crazy. And so, here's the thing: when you have companies like ExxonMobil that makes $20 billion a quarter. Now, this is not a year. This is a quarter. And we're talking about, this is profit. This is not, just overall company earnings. That is after the overhead, after salaries being paid to employees, after building maintenance, after all these things and expenditures, after all that's done, they get a cut of about $20 billion a quarter. And so this company gets tax subsidies upwards to about $460 to $70 million a year. A company that makes $20 billion a quarter does not need $467 million in tax subsidies that we pay to Exxon. This ain't money that's just regular. We pay to Exxon. So we're basically telling Exxon, raise our gas prices and fake bid on barrels, and we're going to pay you to do that. We're going to give you your money back on top of what we're paying when they do oil speculation. So this is the point. Says he wants people to pay their fair share. Yeah, the people that needs to pay taxes, it's about paying for political proposals and healthcare costs. That's the point. When you got, like I said, that $467 million, you know what that could do each year? That can actually fund early childhood education. That money alone, just Exxon's tax subsidies itself, can fund early childhood education. For somebody like me who's a regular working Joe, how much love would it have been for a subsidy for my children when they were in preschool and daycare, when I was paying $1,200 a month in daycare? That money I could have saved and built more wealth for me. I could have put it in savings, and that would have made me more wealthy. Most of these giant oil companies never pay taxes or very low. That's the point. Stop sticking it to the little man. And that's the thing, is we get stuck with the bill, but the oil companies get stuck with the money. So it's not about penalties or anything like that. It's about reappropriating the money so that we can spend it wisely. We should be able to cover healthcare costs, at least some of it, maybe not all of it, but we should at least have a big chunk of it. Since we paying into it, guess what? I should be able to have, when my sons get older and have kids, they should be able to have early childhood education take care of for them. That will give them a good head start as a family to start saving and building. And then you can buy that home, get that car, all that type of stuff. There's tons of pork. I agree. There is a ton of pork in there. But if you cut the pork and say they keep their money, if you get the pork out and you make sure that big giant oil companies don't feast off of our taxes, we can actually make something. Absolutely. And actually we rank, what is it? We're not even number one in math and science. We rank like 24th or something like that. We have money. We have a money economy. We don't live by barter and trade. Things have a cost. Absolutely. Things do have a cost. They need to manage the money they have already. Well, you know what the problem is? The money that we have already was spent up when George W. Bush went to war. It spent that $10 billion a month trying to nation build in a lie of a war. Tax dollars wasted daily. Oh, absolutely. But this is why it's important to vote for your local election, because your Congress and your House and your Senate is the one that determines tax policy. You say you was in Iraq? Well, I absolutely thank you for your service. So, guys, check this out. We got audio from Donald Trump's former butler, now is state historian, and he doubles down. I want y'all to hear this. This is chilling, yo. I want y'all to hear this. I want you to hear this. This is courtesy of Chris Hayes on MSNBC.
74-year-old Anthony Senecal, the man previously known to the world as the former butler and affable House historian of Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, who says he's worked with Trump for nearly 30 years, also kept a Facebook page filled with hateful and threatening statements about President Obama.
12 years of that
Mother
garbage.
Jones, who first broke the story, revealed dozens and dozens of
thank you so much for rejoining.
disturbing quotes written by Anthony Senecal.
Thank you for the hearts, by the way.
May 23rd, 2015.
Yeah, he is former, but he is now currently the state historian.
Read, quote, Joseph, I hate to say it again, but I feel it is time for the second American Revolution. The only way we will change this crooked government is to bleep it. This might be the time with this Kenyan fraud in power. Another one. Not me, Terry. With the last breath I will help rid America of the scum infested in its government. And if that means dragging that bleepless bleephead from the White Mosque and hanging his scrawny bleep from the portico, count me in. Today, NBC News spoke to Senecal.
This is
and when
today.
asked,
This is his
on the
response
record
today.
with a reporter
I want y'all
about
to hear this.
issues he has with President Obama that led him to say the military should take him out.
This is Donald Trump's current state historian. I want y'all to hear this.
There's more than some issues with him. He's a damn traitor. 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 Period. That's the way I feel.
And so you think that that's, I guess, what should be done with traitors?
I think he ought to be hung. I think he should be hung. I think he should be hung next to Hillary Clinton, and I think it should be public. I think it should be televised. I think it ought to be done from the portico of the White Mosque. It used to be the White House.
Y'all, did y'all hear that? This is today, courtesy of MSNBC. His interview, he said not only should he be hung, but he should be hung next to Hillary Clinton. I know okay, so Chris, let me say this. Yes, he is the former butler of Donald Trump, right? Let me get your on that, right, Chris? He is the former butler of Donald Trump, right? Okay. But let me add this on. He is still employed by Donald Trump as an estate historian. Donald Trump gets himself out of one, easy blames Hillary. But that's the point. But he can't blame Hillary forever. And listen, I'm not the biggest Hillary fan at all. I remember when she called us super predators. And I remember how she talked about President Obama during the election. Oh, absolutely. That is the absolute truth. And like I said, I'm not the big Hillary fan. I remember the stuff that she said and what her husband said about him just getting the votes because he's black. So I'm not like the jumping on Hillary Clinton bandwagon. Absolutely not. But what I'm talking about is the truth. And you have to get that out there. What does it matter if workers think politically? What? Wait a minute, 1 second. This is the only reported. This was reported today. The Washington Post found out that this dude, Donald Trump's former butler, now current residential historian, or estate historian, he's still employed by Donald Trump, just not as a butler. He's employed as an estate historian. But he gets on there and talks about killing Barack Obama, hanging him. So I understand that, listen, people who are that free and feel like that, they're not doing this just completely separated from Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump started the birther movement about questioning his birth certificate. You think the GOP may have planted the story? Now, let me give you a little bit. I might agree with you on that. Now, I don't think it was planted, like made up. I think they outed him because they're trying to help destroy Donald Trump. Power affect employment, Chris. You sound like you're playing with devil's advocate. That is a prerogative. Americans can think what they want. I mean, absolutely they can think what they want, but remember, birds of a feather flock together. I mean, you will never see me hanging out with a racist KKK person. You just won't hear it. Hey, what's going on? It's my neighbor. He's a really nice guy.
I see. I'm trying.
I'm on my live stream. We're talking politics. We're talking about Donald Trump and how he's talking about his butler said he wanted to kill the president. He's crazy. He's a crazy person.
Something wrong with him.
He's a narcissistic.
Everything you're talking about, me. He think he's it.
He thinks he's it, but he's actually a fraud.
He's not. I'm scared from him if he get elected.
I'm moving to Canada.
Are you?
If he gets elected, I'm out of here.
I have a Dutch passport. I go back to Holland.
Well, I'm headed there with you.
Yeah, I'm going there. I'll take you with me.
All right, me and you going to Holland, y'all. Y'all heard it here first, y'all. My neighbor said he's going to take me to Holland with him, y'all, so we going. He said, pack my bags? Nah. I'm about to play something, too, again, so I'm glad you said pack my bags. I know you're like, oh, Donald Trump's going to win. But all this stuff I'm showing you is the reason why it's going to be an uphill battle for Donald Trump to win the election. That's the problem. All the Bernie voters will not show up if Trump wins. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to give you something. Rachel Maddow had a good... I'm about to play this audio from Donald Trump. There's a attack ad against Donald Trump that is damning. Make sure you come by the show Monday night. Oh, I will come by the show. I actually saw that you were talking to Professor Griff if you're talking to Professor Griff, I'm surprised you like Donald Trump, because I'm sure Professor Griff don't like Donald Trump. So I saw that you had shaking hands with him. I don't know if you did an interview with him or not, but if you did talk to him, I can guarantee you he ain't voting for Donald Trump. I know you're your own man, but you talking to people like Professor Griff who are super conscious. I don't know why you would think Donald Trump would be a good suggestion. But what we're talking about, I know you hashtag stay woke. I know, man. You got to keep waking up, brother. But so check this out. Nah, I'm just playing, man. But check this out. Donald Trump, check this out. Y'all won't believe this. So this is more Donald Trump news. Donald Trump, there's an attack ad. Actually, let's go to this. Fly, thank you so much for joining the Scope. Pump them hearts and share the Scope. We're talking about Donald Trump and his lies. His former butler, now a state historian, who talked about killing the president. We're also talking about his other alias, John Miller. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but John Miller is Donald Trump. Back in the 90s, Donald Trump used to pose as John Miller. It will be anti-Hillary votes that get him in, not pro-Donald. I absolutely agree. It won't be pro-Donald, but Donald Trump's got an uphill climb. I don't know if she is 20 times worse. I think they both might be equally bad. But the only thing that you get with Donald Trump is you get a dash of racism with it. And Hillary ain't the most progressive person either. But with Donald Trump, you get misogynistic pig is what you get. And that's why he won't win, because women, I don't care if you are Republican, Democrat, or other, you still not going to vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump with women is that's a big issue. Oh, yeah, but I think Chris, I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to get me to jump into the conspiracy. And we can go conspiracy, because I'll do conspiracy. She will align herself with Overman. Oh, with Obama? Yeah, she been hugging him. Yeah, Hillary loves Robert C. Byrd. Yeah, I saw that. But now he's a former KKK member. But yeah, he was a Ku Klux Klan. I mean, but remember, both Democrats and Republicans have some races in them. It just so happens that the GOP picked the mega races for their nominee. She also loved, was it Truman? Not Truman. I can't think of that other president who was kind of like super duper conservative. Yeah, she said, oh, hey, look, see, Trump's not a racist. Like when he ate that fake taco on Cinco de Mayo and said he loves Hispanics, that wasn't racist. Oh, I'm all about Obama's third term. Oh, absolutely. The media told me that? No, that was Donald Trump's own page. He posted that on Twitter. He went on Twitter and took the picture and said, I love Hispanics, and ate with the taco bowl. He was the one, he did that. I know, but he did that. So that's the point. I mean, I don't understand why you were surprised by this. But check this out, y'all. So Donald Trump claims that he doesn't know about this supposed John Miller that he was posing as in the 90s as a fake PR person. Y'all don't hear this. Y'all, this broke today. There was audio that came out that shows Donald Trump faking to be a PR person, talking about, oh, Donald Trump gets so many women and Donald Trump can choose between any woman he wants, eating a taco bowl. But it is racist when you do it on Cinco de Mayo and you don't know anything about Cinco de Mayo, and then you hashtag that with I love Hispanics. That is racist, because he could easily do it on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, eat some chicken and watermelon and say I love the blacks. That's what I'm saying. That is racist. But anyways, so he was posing as John Miller, a fake PR person. And y'all, this story broke today. And so he was calling up radio stations, calling up different news outlets saying, oh yeah, Donald Trump gets so many women and Donald Trump is the king of all kings. And he was doing this himself. He was being a fake person named John Miller. Oh, he's not close to done offending people. But you know what? We can get into some conspiracy real quick. Let's jump into a conspiracy. Now, here is a conspiracy that I believe is happening. And y'all let me know if I'm being like uber crazy with this or I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. I honestly think Hillary Clinton put Donald Trump up to running in the election. Media is controlled, but not just by the left wing, but the powers that control all narratives. I absolutely agree. Offense don't matter when your country is being destroyed. Oh, I agree, but we got to think about who's destroying the country. But here's the thing. When you have somebody like Donald Trump, man, I think he's a plant. And I know I heard some Republicans say this on the Senate floor, House of Senate floor, where a dude said that he thinks that he was a plant by Hillary. I actually kind of believe this. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I honestly think, he said, ooh, that's a good one. That sneaky Clinton. I know. I want y'all to just hear me out. I'm not saying I 100% believe this, but just hear me out. I know this is like tinfoil, like, I'm putting on the tinfoil hat, y'all. But. So I heard that they said that because, Hillary Clinton called, she went to his wedding. He donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Not only that, but days before he ran for the presidency, he called Bill Clinton up to get some tips into running for president. So my thing is if they're so detestable, right? If they're so detestable, then how come they together like it ain't nothing in the past? He did come out swinging on both Clintons. Remember, he talked about Bill Clinton's infidelity. Remember, he said Hillary Clinton was enabling Clinton to do those. Hillary would not destroy the country. First woman president. And I agree. I don't think Hillary would destroy the country because I think Hillary, she's got no choice but to listen to the left. She has no choice. I think she's going to owe too much. Is a weak candidate, but so is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is probably one of the weakest candidates. Matter of fact, he has the highest unfavorables than any other candidate in history. I agree. Hillary does have some war hawk tendencies. She actually said that some intervention is pretty good, which is, you take it or leave it. I'm not the biggest on foreign relations, but I do know that we shouldn't be using our military that much. Ask the 16 losers how weak he is. But you look strong when you are a weak loser next to even weaker losers. I mean, that's why sometimes you have an ugly woman bring an even uglier. Excuse me. It's outside. Somebody's riding real quick. But he's still weak. Have you ever heard about this? Maybe like an ugly woman or an ugly dude would bring an even uglier person with them to make them look better. Well, that was the description of the GOP candidacy. 16 mega losers lost to an ultra loser. So it's not like, it's not like he made a big accomplishment. I mean, he went against Ted Cruz, who was basically hated in the Senate. Then he went against Rand Paul, who was nothing. Jeb Bush, who cares? I mean, Ben Carson, he was falling asleep. So, I mean, say Hillary is the biggest loser? Nah, Donald Trump is, man. Reagan, but times 10. Yeah, I mean, people keep thinking Reagan was the bomb, but he wasn't. He did that Star Wars, man, and he wasted a lot of money. Plus, he did that war on drugs, which did a lot of damage to the black community. So I don't give him no credit. What's up, Deadpool? Thank you for rejoining. Share the scope. Pump them hearts. I appreciate you guys pumping them hearts. But that's what's going on. So, and he has no experience. And plus, they say he's a great businessman, but he did bankruptcy like 6 times. And on top of that, a lot of his business failed. His Omaha Steaks and all that. Now, I realize that rich people do have a lot of businesses that do fall, but you can't claim that you're this ultra successful businessman when the only thing you got is your name. Show me something that he did that was super sweet. We're trying to run the country like his company, right? Which is to the ground. And that's the point. But y'all, check this out. So my final story of the night is that she's a loser. Here's the thing, man. I think, we're all losers if Donald Trump gets in. Donald Trump is not good for this country. Anytime you have a bunch of tack ads that come out with your words. Now, mind you, this ad was released today by a pro-Hillary pack. Barack is the bomb. Oh, absolutely. I think Barack Obama will go down in history as one of the greatest presidents in this generation. She lost to an unknown senator from Illinois. Yeah, but that's because Barack Obama was the bomb. I mean, that's the difference. Barack Obama was the bomb. I mean, he had the speech, he had the look, he had everything. So, of course, he was going to beat Hillary. And remember, people were kind of getting done with the kind of dynasties. You had Bill Clinton, then you had George W. Bush, then you had baby Bush, and then people didn't want another Clinton. So I think it was a dynasty thing that kind of helped her lose too. So it wasn't just, super losing. It was Barack Obama on top of that was the bomb. That's what happened. For the Clinton playbook, Trump is part of the Clinton playbook. Now listen, Hillary by no means is at all as worse as Donald Trump. I would take Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump any day, because I wouldn't want a president who say Clintons are afraid of Trump. Singer Rewriter, thank you so much for joining. We're talking about Donald Trump and his lies about him posing as a PR person and his refusal to show his tax returns. And we're talking about politics. So thank you so much for joining. Share the scope and pump them hearts. Back to the conspiracy theory. I know I got on a tangent. So here's my conspiracy. Well, I just want y'all to hear this. So my conspiracy theory is I think Donald Trump is a plant by Hillary Clinton. And I actually think it's kind of a twofold kill. Not only is it going to get her, you say Trump and Clinton on the same, that's the point. They were also in the Bilderberg group too. I don't know if you guys know what the Bilderberg group is. Same thing, both are part of the Rothschilds agenda. Yeah, it's a lot going on, man. And let me say this. So let me get back to my conspiracy, because I've been floating this around. Some people have been agreeing with me. My phone's about to die, so I'm gonna hold it. Some people agree with me, some people don't. But here's my theory. I think Donald Trump is put in there to not only destroy the GOP, because remember, he said after the meeting on Paul Ryan, he was like, he doesn't need the GOP support. It's like WWF wrestling. I know it's like in this corner, Donald, the Orange Man, Trump. The group like Illuminati, I absolutely singer right. Fight and have a beer afterwards, right? Just build. But I think, Hillary Clinton put Donald Trump up there to not only say these derogatory things, because he says them with just no remorse. I mean, it's like, wow, this is amazing that he could get away with all this stuff. And I think she calculated that way back in 2010, when the GOP sold their souls to the Tea Party devil to try and boost their turnout for the 2010 elections for the House and Senate, they had to appeal to that racist part of the base. And so I think Hillary saw that weakness and said, Trump, go in there and be as right-wing GOP crazy as you can and divide the party. So not only does she divide the GOP and almost make them die, but she turns around and gets the presidency and becomes the first female president. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that that's a believable tinfoil hat, but I'm saying it's a possibility. She says she can't beat Bernie. She's beating him right now. And there's no substance to his commentary. I mean, saying make America great again. How? How, Sway? How, Sway? How you gonna make, you ain't got the answer, Sway. How you gonna make America great again? When was America great again for black people? Was America great when we were in the Jim Crow South? Was America great during slavery? Was America great during the Rodney King riots? Was America great when Mike Brown got shot? Was America great when Tamir Rice got murdered? Because superdelegates. Now, I agree. I don't like the superdelegate process. The superdelegate process is kind of a cheat code. You could just have people agree before the vote even comes, and then boom, somebody can get up. But that's just how it is. Build the idiotic wall. And then on top of that, he had Ann Coulter at one of his rallies where she said she would build the wall. Sugar Booger, thank you so much for joining. Pump them heart shit. The scope. We're talking about Donald Trump. And Ann Coulter at Donald Trump's rally said that he said, hell, America has always been, oh, absolutely. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Rep your city. I'm here in Indianapolis. It is a brisk about 64 degrees outside. Build the wall. Yeah, and they're going to dig tunnels. That's what I'm saying. And then he said going to build a wall high enough no one can get over. But he forget about tunnels. Because, I mean, that's how El Chapo escaped. But what's crazy is, this is the GOP's fault. This is entirely their fault. And this is why you have Paul Ryan panicking, because he's like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is the guy that's representing the Republican Party. And this is what's going to doom him. In the end, it's going to hurt him down Senate races. And that's what people keep forgetting. All this election is all about your Senate and your House. The president really doesn't do nothing, really. I mean, the president can suggest, he does have executive power, but he doesn't write real law. And so that's why the Republicans are panicking, because they know that women make the biggest voting bloc here in America. And right now he's at a 78 disapproval rating for all women. That's Republican, Independents, Democrats. So he's got an uphill battle. So that's just my opinion on Donald Trump. But I also want to get to this, y'all, before I go. Did y'all hear? See, but if we can have cars that go 65 miles an hour in both directions of the border, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Hey, that would make it tougher. But check this out. Y'all hear about this? Michael B. Jordan, y'all, is going to be on the new Black Panther movie on June 2017. In June 2017, Michael B. Jordan, he's joined the cast. So this movie is turning out to be an amazing thing. You already have Chadwick Boseman, who's playing Black. Yeah, absolutely. It was announced today that Michael B. Jordan will be playing either a villain or somebody that's with the Black Panther. Also, Lupita Nyong'o, she is going to be playing alongside with Chadwick Boseman too. Oh, good choice. I think it's an amazing choice. I think if you've seen Fruitvale Station and Creed, I think getting Michael B. Jordan on board was the most excellent idea that anybody could have ever thought of. And I think it's amazing for us blurs, us black nerds who like all the comic books and all this stuff. I think it's an amazing development. I think as far as black people, we've come a long way. And it's about time they show us some respect. Put some respect on it. I ain't gonna say it no more. Y'all hear me? You say more of a ghetto geek? Right, I am too. I know that's right. I ain't gonna say it no more. All three of y'all. I'm serious, yo. But yo, I'm about to end my scope. But I truly do appreciate you guys coming by tonight. Again, this is news you can use with D Nice. If you're checking out the replay, thank you so much for checking out the replay. I scope on Mondays and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you do like me, share the scope. I have a YouTube page, primetime 7 p.m. 11. I'm also on Facebook. You can check me out there. And also on Twitter at primetime 7 p.m. 09. So if you like my show, go ahead and send me a friend request. I got you hooked up. Share the scope. Pump them hearts. So add me. Check out my music profile. I'm definitely doing it right now. Thank you so much for pumping them hearts. I appreciate it. Well, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, this is another edition of News You Can Use with D Nice. I'm out. I love you guys. Peace.